Plus this, we're joined by Sean Kine, who is the Fine Gael TD for Galway West, and Catherine Connolly, independent TD for the same constituency. Sean Kine, I'll go to you first. Will this finally sort out the problems in Galway for the residents down there?
It will play a very important part. What it will do is to allow people the option who presently are coming through Galway City without wanting to go through Galway City, the option of going around it. What that will then allow is for capacity to be built within Galway City to improve public transport services in terms of quality bus corridors, in terms of cycling, in terms of pedestrianisation. But it will be very difficult to deliver those public transport elements without first building the bypass. There are greater than 30,000 people in Connemara, which includes commuter towns in Moycullen, Barna, Roscaha, Loughderard, and 40,000 people in Galway City west of the Corrib, particularly the newer suburbs in Knocknacarra.
Okay, what's the ring road going to do?
The ring road is going to allow them to get around Galway City without having to go through it. A lot of the, particularly foreign direct investment employment, will be east of the city in the Parkmore area. I know there'll be a presentation before the Joint Oireachtas Committee today on difficulties there. And this will effectively be a fifth bridge over the Corrib. Some might say the fifth and final bridge over the River Corrib. If you're familiar with Galway, you'll know the distance between Galway Bay and actually the mouth of Lough Corrib is about 5 kilometres. So the options are quite limited and quite constrained.
Okay, we go to independent TD Catherine Connolly. You don't agree. You're not in favour of this road.
Well, good morning. That's the first thing. And secondly, it's not a question of me being in favour of this road. This road is going to take its course anyway, forgive the bad pun, and it's going to Borglanowla. What I'd like to just do is to broaden out this topic a little bit and give the background, and we're looking at a solution that's wrong in the long term, given what's before us this week, the National Planning Framework that's going to be published on Friday. I can take any paragraph you like out of that, Paul, and it talks about sustainability, reducing our emissions, making places, and so on.
There's a global traffic report shows that Galway commuters spend almost 2 days every year sitting in congestion.
I'm a Galwegian, born, bred and reared. I drive, I cycle and I walk. I'm more than familiar. I spent 17 years on a local council, and during that time I was one of a minority of voices in relation to an outer bypass that went nowhere. It went down a cul-de-sac at a huge cost. That was the original plan. The difficulty with that plan is, and I describe it, not the person, but I describe it as a male stale way of thinking that further roads and cars is the only way forward. That outer bypass went down a cul-de-sac. The difficulty with that is, during that period of 17 years, the traffic was allowed to build up out of all can't manage it. And we put park and ride, for example, just a very practical suggestion as councillors in the development plan in 2005. That's 13 years ago. Management said it was premature and never rolled it out. We asked for many other solutions and they were never rolled out. And so when the original plan, which took almost 20 years to go down a cul-de-sac, was ruled out by Europe, just the new road came forward. It came forward as a road with lip service to public transport. So what we have said, and the group that I'm with on the ground, is look, there are sustainable solutions to this. Light rail being one of them as an integral part of the solution.
If I go back to Sean Kine, what have you to say to that? It looks like you're just going for the old reliable methodology and not looking at more adventurous ways of dealing with this problem.
No, I disagree. I mean, this is part of a whole approach. It's part of the Galway transport strategy, which includes a huge element of public transport. But the point I'm making is that they're complementary. It's not an either or. But the increases in public transport will be very difficult to deliver if you don't actually have a bypass, if you don't actually remove the cars that are going through Galway City that don't want to be going through. And that is the point of the Galway City ring road, which will be going to planning.
By the way, a brief question, because we're running out of time here. When do you actually think that you will have a solution or some kind of solution in place for this problem that has dogged Galway for decades?
The Galway City ring road, formerly the bypass, will be built if we get planning.
When?
If we get planning in the next 2 years, it'll be built, it'll go through the normal stages in terms of contract and design. They're saying 2024, but that is subject to planning. And as said,
so the hard-pressed Galway commuters have another 6 years to look forward to that. Sean Kine, Fine Gael TD for Galway West, and Catherine Connolly, Independent TD, thank you both for joining us.
Coming up.